is not the fake Radio Azteca. This is the real Radio Azteca. Just about brings Radio Azteca program number 22 to a close. If you have a burning desire to permanently commemorate this passing of wind, send your excruciatingly detailed reception report along with 3 wise-ass comments you can use on the air, a stamp or 2 for the drop operator, and a right-hand rubber glove to AES Communications, Post Office Box 1, Belfast, New York, 14711. Tonight's wisdom is from the arts and entertainment biography of Howard Stern. Quote, "The sound of sparking is like a symphony to my ears." Unquote. Howard must have attended a few XBS traditions. This is Radio Azteca. Are you ready? And here it comes! Taking up every time again and helping to fight off Dutch fisherman disease by bringing you program number 23. This is your announcer, Bram Stoker. Tonight's program is brought to you by the good folks at the Benevolent Union for Criminal Telemeters lamenting the inactivation of code keys. Buttlick. Yeah, it was hard for me to say, too. If you would like a permanent commemoration of this wind passing, send your excruciatingly detailed reception report along with a stamp or 2 for the drop operator, 3 wise-ass comments you can use on the air, and a quart jar of Vaseline to DVS Communications, Post Office Box number 1, Belfast, New York, 14711. We now have 27 different, next up 28 different QSL cards for your viewing pleasure. Is Radio Azteca, your station for all that's gross but tasteful. It's a real toe-tapper, boys. Monique, our mailwoman, has been hanging out at the post office load shop again, checking out all the bags out there and trying to retrieve your mail before the postmaster throws it all out. Monique personally inspected every bag and came out with quite a handful of your epistles again. Mark Paul of White House Station, New Jersey, wants to know what the slogan on one of our pennants means. The slogan reads, quote, "It crackers the supervisor that drops the inside," unquote. Mark, the only clue I'm going to give you on that one is you've got to dig back quite deeply into Mad Magazine history for that one. Radio Azteca QSL whorehound Dan McCarthy of Calhoun, Georgia, checks in with a quickie report. He just happened to tune in to program number 21 to hear his name mentioned on the air. Calhoun is the hometown of Ezra Whipsiple, the first man in history to suck an egg out of the back of a chicken. Frequent QSLer, all-around good guy, and the inventor of the electric douchebag, Lee Sylvie of Mentor, Ohio, noted in the Free Radio Weekly that he had been unseated as QSL Whore of the Month. As you may know, whore seats move around frequently, so there are always new opportunities, Lee. Lee has submitted at least 4 reports since being unseated, so we do hereby restore Lee to his well-deserved seat as QSL Whore of the Month. Since this is obviously a significant emotional event, we also do hereby name Lee Sylvie as QSL Whore Emeritus, which authorizes you to hang out on your favorite street corner and pass out rashes.
Oh, it will be exciting.
Rich and Talia Jorans of Katy, Texas, say that it's been quiet lately and hope that the warm weather will bring out more pirates. There are not many pirates I know that I want to see out, with the possible exception of the girls at WYAN and the voice of UTC.
That is passing the pirate radio.
First-time reporter Tricia Zeidner of Westford, Massachusetts, went on a tug with a picture of an Esso station. We assume that this means Tricia has some sort of close connection with gas. Tricia says that besides the fading noise, she, quote, had to struggle with a lot of hay, unquote. Tricia, I know what you mean. That stuff tastes like shit. What do they put in that stuff anyway? I've gotten the best results by adding a lot of onion and garlic to mine, wrapping it up in a newspaper and smoking it. And there's nothing like a couple of brews to go with a corned beef joint. Chris DeSanctis of Winston-Salem Case Good, North Carolina, checks in again. Chris has a question for Dr. Radio and says, quote, "What are QSL whores? Are they people who can't get enough of rolled-up paper? Ha, ha, ha," unquote. Chris, what the hell is that all about? This doesn't have anything to do with gerbils, does it?
People have used animals for this purpose for centuries.
Winston-Salem, as you all know, is the city famous for where Winston Churchill once burned a witch in a town square. Winston thought she was whipping him the bird, but it turned out she was only picking her nose and just examining the results of the exploration. Fred Danowski of Stratford, Connecticut, also checks in again and says that whenever we're on, he's not around. Despite this apparent handicap, Fred managed to capture a few details of program number 22. It looks like Fred has figured out how to do virtual pirate hunting. How do you do that, Fred?
Well, I can tell you the reason. The computerization.
David Carell of Vagina Beach, Vagina, also checks in again. Dave is apparently suffering from QSL whore envy, but opens up a nice opportunity by pointing out that he has QSL slut genes. This could possibly mean that we will have to appoint a QSL whore, a QSL whorehound, and a QSL slut after every program. Hell, this could be a whole new segment for Radio Azteca. Radio Azteca QSL whores, whorehounds, and sluts. Nah. Dave says that he listened with his dog at his side, and after the program, they napped. Speaking of QSL sluts, Bob Haas of Sunbury, Pennsylvania, sent us a research report and a glow-in-the-dark condom. Damn fine gift there, Bob, and possibly the inspiration for one hell of a top 10 list. the top 10 things you can do with a glow-in-the-dark condom. How do you use yours, Bob? Bob also sent and requested 3 smart-ass remarks, one of which we won't mention, as it does involve gerbils. Bob says that 2 drunks were watching a dog lick its balls. One drunk says, "I'll bet you wish you could do that," unquote. The other one replied, "Yeah, but I'll bet he'd bite me." Indiana wrote for the first time and also included the 3 smart-ass comments. We appreciate that, Mark, and have credited your account with us. Mark says that in a recent Gallup poll indicates that most Americans would rather ride in a car with Joan Kennedy at the wheel than Teddy. Bill Clinton favors Western because most gas-lodges are gun-side. And last, but certainly not least, in the gross but tasteful tradition of Radio Azteca, Mark asks, why didn't Santa Claus have any children? This should be part of Dr. Radio intro. Because he kept throwing his bag over his shoulder.
This ain't no toy.
First-timer Bill Fleming of Liverpool, New York, says that he thought he heard Radio Azteca. Close, Bill, but not quite as good as the fellow who ID'd us as Radio Azteca. Bill also had a gross but tasteful question for Dr. Radio, but since he gave us the answer, we'll take care of it here. What's the difference between a rectal thermometer and an oral thermometer? Taste.
Somebody slipping your mouth.
Bill, you're truly weird, and I expect to get more of this kind of stuff from you in the future. We also heard from Kevin Lauda of Grand Rapids, Michigan, Dave Fisher of Waterloo, Ontario, and longtime TSLer Neil Lobo Pescado of Toronto, Ontario. Neil, when are you going to replace that old woman on your currency? How about Ann Murray? She has a nice pair of ditties.
Radio Azteca has more hot tips than a sliced pickle steak. Bah.
And had only the same bunch of girlfriends to go to the banquet with? But no more, ladies. Scarfman's escort service can fix you up with Mr. DX Right. Scarfman has a wide variety of eager male DXs to fill your every need. Into scanners? No problem. Into beacons? No problem. Into group DX? Absolutely no problem. Scarfman will let you look over his block of DX studs through a one-way window. You can even ask to see them with or without their earphones on. Pick the one you want and you're off to a night of serious DX-ing. Look for Scarfman in the yellow pages under Spud Service. Or email a message to scarf.man@weird.net/serial/number. Something completely different. Muchachas and muchachos, we are indeed privileged to have in the Radio Azteca studios today Anguilla's newest superstar, eminent shortwave evangelist, and former Dallas Cowboys toe masseuse, Dr. Gene Scott. Welcome to Radio Azteca studios, Dr. Scott.
Hey, Billy, what's happening?
sir. Do you have any advice for me for this interview?
Well, if I was you, I'd be mighty suspicious of me.
Why is that?
Because I am a wild and crazy guy.
Regardless, it's a vague and questionable honor to have you here, and certainly one of the most well-known evangelists on shortwave.
You want the big one? I've got.
To be an effective evangelist, you must have to have a lot of showmanship in your bodily fluids. Where do you get your training?
Talent on loan from God.
No, seriously, Dr. Gene, where did you get your training?
On the dirt road of disinformation.
Another mystery cleared up. I've noticed that many of you evangelists called yourself doctors, such as yourself and Dr. Oral Roberts.
He's not a real doctor.
Not a real doctor, you say? Then what kind of a doctor?
Oh, he's a strange doctor, you know. No matter where it hurts you, he wants to fix it, make it better.
Well, his name is Oral. But that is just a tad odd. Can you explain that sort of behavior?
Probably because he's possessed by the devil.
I understand that you had a rather exciting meeting with Brother Stair once. What happened?
You bastard shot me in the ass.
That could explain a lot of things we've heard from you on the air. For those of you who may have tuned in late, we are interviewing the eminent evangelical horse's patootie, Dr. Gene Scott. Dr. Gene, some people have called you a pompous asshole. What do you have to say to these people?
I don't have to take this abuse. I got other people going to do you.
You're always insulting people. This isn't just my opinion.
When I want your opinion, I'll give it to you.
You once called a person who sent you some comments and questions in a letter an asshole on the air. Can you comment on this outburst?
You're a smart ass, aren't you?
Of course, but I think the public would like to know how you can justify such an outburst on the air.
You can't say anything. Most people don't take it serious. I'm sorry, that disgusts me.
At the very least, it certainly was entertaining and reveals the source of most of your thought processes. Dr. Gene, I understand that you don't care to be mobbed as a celebrity when you go out. People must come up to you for autographs and advice. What do you say to them?
I'm Graham Hauser.
Does your church have any similarities to the other major religious sects?
Does the place in the woods?
Many churches have some image or symbol to identify them. What is the symbol of your church?
Holy shit.
How silly of me not to make the connection. We understand that you own quite a stable of racehorses. Why do you own such a thing so opposite to your liturgical image?
Because I am a wild and crazy
Well, you did mention that. Does that mean you do things other than ride them? What is your ultimate goal in life, Dr. Scott?
area of my existence which has been sweet and warm and quietly thrilling, like returning to the womb. And let's face it, we all want to go back, you know.
Tell me, Doctor, is there anything you can't do for a person in need?
You've got questions? You've got answers?
I can't think of a better rep. Let's hear it for Dr. Gene Scott, folks. All Azteca, one of America's national products. Destined to become a classic. Good old Dr. Gene. And now it's time once again for the World of Media Wave Merry-Go-Round Signals, program number 150, 2417. This is where we bring you all the late-breaking news about your favorite radio stations and what Alice Brannigan does in the shower that you don't. Before we get into the radio news, here are a couple of announcements. The Women's Circle of the Church of the Immaculate Cattle Prod will be holding their annual bake sale and radiator flush behind the parsonage on Tuesday. Emily Redenbacher has made an extra large batch of her special herb brownies this year that were so well received by everyone last year. Helen Back, the Circle's leader, says that they promise to do less giggling and get more work done than last year. The Susquehanna Valley Racquetball and Radio Club will hold its annual ball and receiver swap in the parking lot of Big Al Toyota across from Walmart on Route 32 Wednesday from noon till 6 p.m. Alan Winona will give a demonstration on 7 different ways to use a loop antenna other than as a radio attachment. Well, by God, we have no radio tips for you this time, so that's all. But if you have tips, we'd sure like to see them, especially if your name is Cheryl, Barbara, Alice, or Janet. Gather up those tips and bring them to us, please. This is Radio Azteca, the station that lifts and separates. Same hands from the home office in Slip Up, Kentucky. Here is tonight's Top 10 list. Tonight's list is the top 10 things that Americans fear about Canada. The top 10 things that Americans fear about Canada. Here we go. Number 11, their superior Zamboni technology. Number 10, their circular bacon. Number 9, their large beaver population. Number 8, rumor that the CN Tower is actually a very large missile. Number 7, that the Toronto Raptors might someday win the NBA title. Number 6, that woman with all the unruly children on their coins and bills. Number 5, the threat to give Quebec to us as the 51st state. Number 4, that the value-added tax will catch on. Number 3, that they'll shut off all the power to New England. Number 2, that Ian McFarland might immigrate to the U.S. And the number 1 thing that Americans fear about Canada, taxpayer-funded enemas.
Bringing chaos to order. This is Radio Azteca.
Cuando en la calle siempre te encuentro
troubleshooting that last bit out. We spend minutes storing all the obscure media we can get our dirty little hands on to bring you all the news that's gross but tasteful, the actual stuff of your life. All of these items were heard either on the air or printed on actual paper. Goat herding resumes in Spain. Defying a government ban, villagers in Manganeses de la Polvorosa, Spain, tossed a goat off a church tower, maintaining an annual tradition celebrating the village's patron saint. Villagers 45 feet below the belfry caught the aeronautical Capricorn in a tarp. The Zamoran provincial governor banned the practice in 1992, forcing villagers to content themselves by lowering the goat on a rope. Not nearly as exciting as flinging it off into midair. Apparently there's not a whole lot to do in Manganeses de la Polvorosa, and they apparently have a very weird painted saint. All of the following items were actually handled by various computer helplines. An exasperated caller said that she couldn't get her new Dell computer to turn on. After ensuring that it was plugged in, the technician asked what happens when she pushes the power button. Her response was, "I push and push on the foot pedal and nothing happens." The foot pedal turned out to be the mouse. Another Dell technician advised his caller to put his troubled floppy in the drive and close the door. The customer then asked the technician to hold on and was heard walking across the room and closing the door. Yet another Dell customer called to complain that his computer would not fax anything. After 40 minutes of troubleshooting, it became clear that the man was holding a piece of paper in front of the terminal and hitting the send key. And still another Dell customer called the helpline and was enraged that his new computer had called him, quote, bad and invalid, unquote. Compaq is considering changing their instructions that call for, quote, press any key, unquote, due to the flood of calls from owners wanting to know where the hell the any key is located. Ace Actual Stuff reporter Larry Anonymous of Flushing, Michigan, sent us some more gross but tasteful items for the Flushing Report. Has some competition. Ultratech Products of Texas makes the flatulence filter. It's an activated carbon filter disguised as a chair cushion, promising to trap offensive odors in cars, homes, and offices. Thank God they didn't list the expeditions. That would never fly. Their brochure proudly announces, quote, don't be too noisy and no one will know, unquote. They originally called it the Toot Trapper, but yielded to more conventional wisdom. They say it'll last about a year, and if it lasts only 6 months, they suggest you see a doctor and perhaps a marriage counselor. If you're interested in the flatulence filter, call their 800 number, 1-800-316-TOOT. What is the origin of the 19-inch radio rack? The dimension was chosen by Edison's engineers after reading about the death of John Dillinger. His sexual equipment, technical term Johnson, was reported in an autopsy as being that size and 1 3/4 inches in diameter. For many years after that, a man's plumbing was referred to as his Dillinger. If you have hard-hitting news items for actual stuff, wrap it all up in a well-greased brown paper bag and send it to Larry Anonymous, 77 Whipsicle Road, Antelope Wells, New Mexico. This has been Actual Stuff. This is Radio Azteca, the station that sounds like elbow skin looks. Ever been on a expedition with DX flying left and right when you hadn't eaten in over 10 hours? Don't fret anymore over having to put down those earphones to cook or even throw together a sandwich made from whatever that stuff is you usually bring. Let Alice's catering service take care of those annoying chores for you on your next DXpedition. Alice and the girls will come out and serve up a scrumptious menu of DXpedition goodies ready to go at any time. Alice has more goodies than Glenn has tips. No Pop-Tarts and bologna sandwiches here, folks. Alice has a full line of DXpedition favorites such as Marconi and cheese, grilled or fried, tube steak, toast on a stick, DXpedition chili, with beans, of course, very well done dead cow, sweet and sour stuffed surprise, tossed salad with tuning oil, and that perennial favorite to wash it all down, Alice's special capacitor juice. Alice also offers a variety of costume themes for your DXpedition pleasure, but cowgirl costumes are extra. If you're planning a DXpedition soon, get in touch with Alice. Look for Alice on Route 32 across from Walmart. Look for the sign with the large revolving spatula. Remember, Alice means good eats. Why isn't phonetic spelled like it sounds? Do you need a silencer if you're going to shoot a mime? How does the guy who drives the snowplow get to work? If a cow laughed, would milk come out its nose? Why is it that when you're driving around looking for an address, you turn down the radio? What does Rainer Plant do for a living? No Radio Azteca program would be complete without a visit from Dr. Radio, who can answer all of these questions plus any others you may come up with about radio and bodily functions. Jack Boggin wants to know if the Aztecs played ice hockey. No, Jack, but they did play a similar game called mud hockey. They filled a circular stone rink with mud. Of course, it didn't rain much in Aztec land, so they had to make mud, and they had to make it out of cow whiz. 2 teams of 11 players would try to carry a goat's bladder from the middle of the field to an opening in one side of the rink without either swallowing part of the field or getting their groin pulled. 2 men in silly hats stood at either side of each opening, making obscene hand gestures to signal when a goal had been scored. Come to think of it, it was Australian rules football they were playing, but the Aztecs called it foot play. Maybe someday Dr. Radio will tell you about the ancient game of Aztec slap and tickle, which eventually became known as sumo wrestling. Obviously, Dr. Radio is getting desperate, so come on out there, all you inquisitive folks. Send those questions in here to Dr. Radio so he can give you his smart-ass answers. Radio Azteca. We've upped our standards, so up yours. Radio Azteca to fade away for a while to collect more gross but tasteful stuff. You have been listening to program number 23. We want to take this time to thank the folks who take the chances to bring you this passing of wind, and to our staff who never make it onto the air. Our accountants, Les Ismore and Horatio Algebra. Tax consultant, Lou Cole. Our staff physician, C. Everett Coupe DeVille. Our EPA liaison, Carmine Dioxide. Our human resources coordinator, Lois Steen. Our computer expert, Dot Matrix. And Denton Fender in the Radio Azteca motor pool. These folks work for butt salt, which results in some pretty gross things laying around on the floor around here. If you need to fill an empty space in your Pirate QSL album, then stick something you don't often use in there. But if you must have a Radio Azteca QSL card, and we have lots of them, send that detailed reception report, stamps, KY jelly, rubber hose, and a long cardboard tube to BVS Communications, Post Office Box 1, Belfast, New York, 14711. Tonight's closing wisdom is, if at the office party your female boss gets drunk and offers to Xerox her ass for you, do not suggest that she punch up reduced 50%. This has been Radio Azteca. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your announcer, Bram Stoker, bringing you Radio Azteca program number 24. Who would have thought? Today's program is brought to you by the good folks at the Tasmanian Union of Radio DXers. Third, if you would like a permanent commemoration of this pointless activity, send your excruciatingly detailed reception report, along with a stamp or two for the drop operator. 3 wise comments we can use on the air, and a rubbing of your girlfriend's favorite body part to DVS Communications, Post Office Box number 1, Belfast, New York, 14711. This is Radio Azteca, your station for all that's gross but tasteful. Number 22, we reported that we had pictures of George Zeller in compromising positions with Alice Brannigan. In fine-tuning number 862, George commented that he forgot when they were talking. George, don't you remember it was that time you and I went with Alice to that kosher cockfight in El Paso? We just wanted to clear up that little misunderstanding. This is Radio Azteca, the station that lifts and separates.
You're a career woman, a woman of the 90s. You just don't have time for the long process of going to the hospital to give birth. All those endless classes, paperwork, and shared rooms? Think convenient. Think drive-through. Think Midwife, the drive-through birthing center. Midwife lets you deliver your baby and still link it to that next important business appointment. Have you thought of a name yet? Midwife makes it easy with our computerized name selection bar. Over 1 million born at Midwife. With every doctor, special smarts let it to your baby with our CG name. Midwife drive-through birthing center. Have it your way in the car.
Our mailwoman made her monthly trip down to the post office, loading dock. Yes, it was that time of the month again, and carted off all your gross but wasteful mail. First-time writer David Hunt of Trinity, North Carolina wrote and asked if we could send him a QSL. Hell, David, we can do a lot better than that. We ordered up 25 pineapple and zucchini pizzas and sent them over to you. Hope you enjoy them.
You want to fitness hours in my experience?
We also heard from Kenny Love from Columbia, South Carolina. Kenny included considerable detail from the gerbil felching story, but we're not going to repeat it again. Unless sufficiently prompted, of course. For those of you who missed it, suffice it to say that one fellow got burned in the face by a flaming gerbil when he lit a match at the end of a tube stuck up his friend's ass, into which the gerbil had been stuffed. Kenny wants to know what kind of equipment we use, but we don't answer those kind of personal questions on the air unless they're part of an Ask Dr. Radio segment, or unless the person who wants to know can give milk. Mark Paul of White House Station, New Jersey, also said he got a chuckle hearing his own comments about the now infamous felching event. I'll bet the guy at the end of the tube felt like he got a face full of chuckles, too. Chuckles, that's a better word than dingleberries, don't you think? White House Station is the hometown of Herb Nimbus, who's responsible for naming the cunnilingus clouds.
Having more fun with human beings should be allowed to have.
We got a first-time report from Bill Stibson of Horsham, Pennsylvania, to which we say that Bill is hereby named Horsham of the Month. Bill started out his report with Dear Broadcaster. We're trying to come up with an equally snappy salutation for Bill's QSL card. Bill noted that we apparently had an abrupt sign-off. Yes, Bill, that's a phenomena frequently suffered by many pirate broadcasters called broadcastus interruptus, and a technique often used by DXers with premature attenuation.
You know, there's something about the smell of hot urine.
Craig Heston of Hillsborough, Ontario, checks in again. Craig caught our action at last year's Copestill. Craig sent full reports at that time, but unfortunately for him, traffic before we were into all this QSL War of the Month mess. More on that later. Craig says that he managed to tape our program number 17 by checking in at the Monday Night Internet page at http://ttn.nai.net. Just goes to prove that all those people are right when they point out all the weird shit polluting the minds of our youths on the porno-riddled internet. Can I get an amen? Tony Bennett of East Hampton, New York, checked it again and included a sample of KY Jelly personal lubricant and wrote saying that a quart would not fit into the envelope. Great gesture there, Tony. What exactly do you do with the stuff? Did you notice that KY spelled backwards is it? I do have to correct one item in your report, Tony. You reported that I said that Anne Murray has nice titties. No, I didn't say that. I said that she had nice ditties. Songs. She probably has nice titties, too, but that's a subject for another segment. Marina Pampas of Huron, South Dakota wrote again. As we mentioned last time, Huron is the hometown of Norman Bates, inventor of the shower stall. Did you catch a moment or two there where it sounded like she was enjoying it? Marina sent us a pirate bone, and a fine bone it is, but this is not the first time that I've received a boner from a woman. I remember a time in El Paso with George Zettler, but that's another story. You kinky types out there will just have to deal with that with your own imaginations. Jeffrey Ryan of Yardley, Pennsylvania sent in a barely enough detailed report to break wind and said that he was sorry that he did not catch our tail end. We're sorry you didn't catch our tail end either, as we're also glad that you didn't send us a bone. We got thank you notes from Mike Burns of Terre Haute, Indiana, and Fred Donowski of Stratford, Connecticut. You can bet your sweet patootie that that sort of behavior will be worth an extra goodie or two in any future reports. Just be sure to make them more wise ass, though. We also heard from Neil Wolfish of Toronto, Ontario, Carl Racines of the Livonian SSR in Michigan, Larry Russell of Flushing, Michigan, Harold Froge of Midland, Michigan, Bob Martinez also from Michigan, and Tim Zicki from Williamston, Michigan. Not much to do up there in the Northwoods, huh, guys? Carl holds the current record for the number of QSLs received, having never, ever written a reception report. How many is it now, Carl? We've also heard from several other folks, but you'll have to wait till the next program to find out what wise-ass comments we're going to make about your letters. Now we have to address a situation that's starting to get out of hand. A few months ago, we got 4 reports from Lee Sylvie over one weekend of listening and awarded Lee the QSL Whore of the Month. Other folks who submitted a similar number of reports were then named QSL Whore of the Month. Dan McCarthy suggested QSL Whorehound, to which we obliged. Lee, lamenting in the Free Radio Weekly that he had been unseated by Don Moore, came through with another batch of reports and was named QSL Whore of the Month Emeritus. Dave Perel then suggested QSL Slut of the Month. Are we done? Well, of course not. Pirate Judah, or Jack Bottom, I forget, suggested QSL Tart of the Month. And now the latest, Rich Jurgens, wants to be QSL Pimp of the Month.
I'll tell you butthole something. This shit is way out of line.
Radio Azteca, the station that sounds like what an armpit on fire smells like.
When fighting is finished, call Ectopet. When pop perishes, call Ectopet. When Squeaky goes to rinse the ribbon, call Ectopet. The pet laminating service you can depend on. Other laminating services may claim to keep your animal valves right, but only Ectopet guarantees satisfaction. Listen to these satisfied customers.
Ectopet made my poor dead puppy shine like a new driver's license.
I have all my dead pets laminated in Ectopet. I use them for doorstops, paperweights. I even have a Great Dane headboard on my bed.
The pipeline's stood on end like this for here these 20 years, thanks to Ectopet.
Ask your veterinarian about Ectopet, laminating pets for 23 years. When you're ready to mount your pet, call Ectopet in the yellow pages under lamination and pet grooming.
Azteca research staff out interviewing all of you folks about the best ways to handle those annoying business and charity solicitation calls you get at home every night. If someone's going to solicit something from me over the phone, at least it could be for something enjoyable. Let me tell you, you people are downright sinister. So from the home office in Slip Up, Kentucky, here are the top 10 things you can do when you get an unsolicited business or charity call at home. Here we go. Number 12. Express an interest in whatever it is, put the phone down, and walk away. Number 11. Turn on a loop tape that says, yes, every 5 seconds, and leave the phone. Number 10, blow an air horn into the phone. Number 9, ask for the person's home phone number and tell them you'll call them back later at night when you have time. Number 8, if it's a woman, ask her what she's wearing. However, we think that maybe that would shut up a man faster. Number 7, put on a tape of Dr. Gene Scott next to the phone and leave. Number 6, write up your own sales pitch for vacuum cleaners and start reading it when they call. Number 5, when somebody calls collecting for a disease, tell them that you have that disease and only have a short time to live, and please send the money right away. Number 4, breathe heavily, grunt, and moan, and say, oh yes, several times, and repeat if necessary. Number 3, ask them if what they're selling comes in Braille. Number 2, answer them in Hauser English. Use lots of gigas, kilos, and sesquies. And the number 1 way to handle an annoying solicitation caller, explain to the caller in explicit and graphic detail exactly what you will do to them as soon as you're elected emperor. This is Radio Azteca. If you rub our belly, our leg will twitch.
Are your lips dry, flat, sagging, or just plain unsightly? To the rescue, it's Glee Press-On Lips, the newest accessory for looking your best instead of how you really look. Glee Press-On Lips apply in minutes with Glee's patented lip lock glue jobs. Simply apply glue jobs to the 4 quadrants of the lips, then press on Glee Press-On Lips. Choose from a wide variety of lip styles, including fish lips, water lips, liver lips, chicken lips, beef lips, and glamour length lips in any color you choose. Just out, new dagger-thick sequined rock lips, all from Glee Press-On Lips, a division of Labia Enterprises.
Staff takes minutes to scour the world's news media and listen to the radio to gather up all those little gems of truth that you might miss. Proving that the world continues to get weirder at an accelerated pace, we have a veritable shipload of actual stuff. This time for your viewing pleasure. All of these items are actual stuff. We are not making these up. The Central Pennsylvania Daily Times reports that John Bobbitt was scheduled to appear in person at the opening of Susie's Adult Superstore, but backed out at the last minute, claiming that such activities are not consistent with his new position as a Universal Life Church minister. If this is the same church that runs the program on Sunday mornings on WRMI, I want to join up. The sultry-sounding babe I've heard talks about holding the body part of your choice, flooding her body with emotion, etc. The crowd I was with when we first heard that could hardly contain ourselves. God, I love listening to the radio. And in this related item from USA Today, the Maine House has voted to amend the state's prostitution law to forbid genital massages at businesses called relaxation spas. By golly, I sure do sleep better tonight knowing that the Pecker police are ever on the alert for this sort of personal abuse. As usual, though, the Maine lawmakers have left a wide open opportunity by forbidding this evil practice, specifically at relaxation spas. Any day now, I expect genital massages to be offered at your local chiropractor and Radio Shack. Come on in for your weekly Johnson adjustment. I'd like to hear a public service announcement for Monkey Spankers Anonymous. My name is Richard Fader, and I am a monkey spanker. Maybe not. And in more New England lawmaking news, the Vermont House passed a bill that allows game wardens to shoot dogs that chase moose, stating that, quote, it's a dumb dog that chases a moose, unquote. Did you know that the word filibuster derives from the old word freebooter, another word for pirate? In old Bram's local birdcage liner, they had to run a correction for an ad for a movie, apologizing for misspelling the name of the movie. The name of the movie was IQ. Larry Anonymous has sent us some more actual stuff for the Flushing Report. Larry's local birdcage liner ran a story which has also been on the tube about Japanese cockroaches which have been surgically implanted with electronics that can cause their motions to be controlled. These robo-roaches equipped with mini cameras can be used to spy in places inaccessible to other hardware. Yet another reason to be nervous in public restrooms. Which raises the question, why are they called cockroaches? And why are they called restrooms? Have you ever rested in one of those things? Have you ever been arrested in one of those? Write to us and tell us about it. This has been the Flushing Report. The following items of actual stuff were sent in by Chuck Benke of Seattle, Hawaii. Yeah, the old radio Azteca signal really gets out. Police in Wichita, Kansas arrested a 22-year-old man at an airport hotel after he tried to pass two $15 bills. A man in Johannesburg, South Africa shot his 49-year-old friend in the face, seriously wounding him, while the two practiced shooting beer cans off each other's heads. The Chico, California City Council has enacted a ban on nuclear weapons, setting a $500 fine for anyone detonating one within the city limits. Police in Radnor, Pennsylvania interrogated a suspect by placing a metal colander on his head and connecting it with wires to a photocopy machine. The message, "He's lying," was placed on the copier, and police pressed the copy button each time they thought the suspect wasn't telling the truth. Believing the lie detector was working, the suspect confessed. Thanks a lot for all that great actual stuff, Chuck, and no bad dog. And, of course, with the ever-increasing band of fire and brimstone throwers on shortwave is always a good source of weird shit. Here is a sampling from a recent weekend's listening. A writer asked Dr. Gene Scott recently that he understood that when we go to heaven, we're all going to be the same age, and he's concerned that he won't know how to recognize his loved one. Isn't it comforting to know that there are actually people out there who are serious about that sort of thing? At least you understand where all these jerks are and where they get their money. Dr. Gene's reply was, quote, "Age doesn't mean anything to an angelic body," unquote. Reverend Charles Young, spouting off on WHRI, said, quote, "This ministry is in cyberspace. Get ready to download," unquote. A preacher on WWCR said, quote, "You'll never get tired with God until you've been in the secret closet," unquote. What the ever-loving hell is that all about? And this last bit of really gross bit of actual stuff, Oregon lawmakers are considering a bill outlining, quote, "standards for the offensive treatment of a dead body," unquote. The will of poet Donald Russell specified that his skin was to be used to bind a book of his poetry. I wonder if old Donald wrote Silence of the Lambs. I wonder if he specified which bits of skin were to be used. What part would he want to be used for the flowers? I think we should change the name of this segment to the Johnson Report. is Radio Azteca, one of America's gross national products.
You're fat. You smoke. You talk too much. You know who you are. If you got a problem, we can fix it. The Big Ed's Addiction Eviction. Just tell us the habit you want to stop doing, and we'll help you kick it. In addition to the biggies like overeating, smoking, and heroin shooting, Big Ed's also cures thumb sucking, nose picking, nail biting, and flax on it. Here's how it works. Say you eat too much. Just come to Big Ed. On your first move to eat some unauthorized food, Big Ed will gently remind you of your strict diet. As your hand moves the food closer to your pig hole, Big Ed will glare threateningly into your eyes. And as the belly-bound morsel reaches your lips, whap, you catch an elbow to the windpipe, leaving you speechless, but still safely on your diet. This proven 100% effective method works for any monkey on your back. Guaranteed. We're the habit haters. Big Ed's Addiction Eviction. Don't be afraid. You got nothing to lose but your nasty habits.
We must hear from the eminent soothsayer of radio and bodily functions and former pimple squeezer for Yasser Arafat, Dr. Radio. Kenny Love from Columbia, South Carolina, whom we heard from earlier in this program, shares that he's heard that if you crank up your old 1 kilowatt amp, plug it into an inverted V dipole, and then pee on it, that your penis will enlarge. Kenny says that he's not going to try it until he gets the straight story on this phenomenon from Dr. Radio. Kenny, what you heard is absolutely correct. If you take a whiz on any conductor running a kilowatt, your penis will definitely take on proportions that you never thought possible. By all means, give it a shot. Do one thing for us, though. Have a friend standing by with a camera to catch what's sure to be a spectacular transformation. Come to think of it, that may be just the cause for those abrupt sign-offs we've all heard about. Broadcastus interruptus. Craig Haskins of Hillsborough, Ontario, whom we also heard from earlier, wants to know, quote, Barbie can't get pregnant. Is that because she has no ovaries or because Ken comes in a separate box, unquote. Craig, you are truly a weird person, but it does remind me of another story. The ever-ready bunny was found dead recently. An autopsy found that someone had put his batteries in backwards. This ultimately resulted in his death because he kept coming and coming and coming and coming. Craig also says, when I do this, it hurts. What should I do? What are you talking about, Craig? Coming in a separate box? I suggest that you try the other hand for a while, or put your batteries in backwards. Pirate Judah asks, and we are not making this up, wants to know what training bras train. Judah done quite a bit of research on this insightful question and forced to come to the conclusion that a training bra has absolutely nothing to do with female anatomy. Those things couldn't hold up a dead gerbil. We've concluded that training bras are for the sole purpose of training small boys to improve their hand-eye contact skills. This is Radio Azteca, Montezuma's Revenge.
Stuck in a dead-end job? No prospects for advancement? Then enter the red-hot world of tanning by attending the Searing Burns Institute of Skin Enhancement. In 72 short months, you'll earn your tanning master's degree, receive minor degrees in vacuuming, setting timers, or fitting goggles, specialize in wiping up perspiration, learn the secrets of palm and foot sole tanning, perform delicate tanning where the sun doesn't shine, and the pay, of course, it's great. All this with spare time to chew gum, read magazines, and jack around. Not to mention the semi-lifelike tan you'll have all year. If this sounds like the opportunity you've been looking for, write to the Searing Burns Institute of Enhancement, 1 Brown Road, Overcast, Washington.
Relax and Alice Brandon. It's time to bring Radio Azteca program number 24 to a close. If you've had half as much fun listening to this as we do putting it together, I hope you're faster at cleaning up the mess than we are. This place looks like a radio shack. If this passing of wind has tickled your fancy, make a paper rubbing of your fancy and send it along with your excruciatingly detailed reception report, a stamp or two for the drop operator, 3 wise-ass comments we can use on the air, and a detailed description of your favorite place to DVS Communications, Post Office Box 1, Belfast, New York, 14711. Tonight's closing wisdom is never squat with your spurs on. This has been Radio Azteca.
You have been listening to the All Azteca Relay Service. This is the AARS, All Radio Azteca all the time. This is Radio Azteca Marathon, program number 8, featuring Radio Azteca programs 22, 23, and 24. Write to us at All Azteca Relay Service at gmail.com. That's the All Azteca Relay Service at gmail.com. This is the All Azteca Relay Service, Radio Azteca Marathon program number 8.